Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 14 deadline stream. Just over 2 hours to go until our first midweek game week of the season. A few more to come over December. I have made one change since the team selection video, which is to put Bruno Fernandes in the 11 instead of Rodgers. I'm still not sure if that will stick, to be honest with you. I think as long as Rodgers starts, I think he might be better this week. I just don't know if I can bench Bruno Fernandes, especially when I got triple Arsenal defence. It's a bit of a emotional hedge, I think. I think if I didn't have to do more videos this week and I wasn't doing YouTube, I suspect I would probably play Rodgers over Fernandes. But it is what it is. I haven't made any transfers. I didn't take the hit for Saka. I didn't get him in before the price rise. I'm probably just going to roll. And then maybe get Saka next week. Maybe get him here. Maybe get him in game week 16. João Pedro not in training apparently. So he wasn't pictured in training. Well, okay. Let me rephrase. He wasn't in any of the pictures that came out of training. But neither were Welbeck, Ferguson, Veltman, Dunk, Kadioglu. Now some of those players are injured or just back from injury. There's still 2 days until the game. I probably wouldn't panic about João Pedro, but I kind of wish he'd been in one of those training photos. It would have made life a little bit less stressful, I guess. Stressful is probably not the right word. It would have just been nice. If João Pedro ends up being out because he's injured, he's going on the never again list, honestly. Like, that guy's absolutely killed me bringing him back in. I'm already 9 points down on a transfer. Mitoma was pictured in training, yeah, or he was in the pictures that came out from training. Stand Arsenal says no. I'm not sure what that means. Play Mikalenko or buy Colwill. Play Mikalenko. I don't see any problem with playing Aitnuri and Mikalenko against each other. I don't think it's worth a free transfer. I think Colwill's pretty good moving forward. If you want to go for him, you could, but I'd rather roll. I think that would be it for. That would be what I'd be doing. Let's get rid of that. One free transfer, sell Bruno or Mbeumo for Palmer. Okay, so I think basically I'd rather have Bruno long term, but there's a price difference. So what is that going to stop you doing? If you need the money for another move later on, I'd just sell Bruno. I don't see a huge issue with doing that. If money's not an issue for you, I would sell Mbeumo first. I think Mbeumo is better this week, but I think long term I'd rather have Bruno. Start Rodgers or Wood? Probably Rodgers. Why don't I play Fabianski? Great chance of a clean sheet. I'm not sure Fabianski's got much more of a chance of a clean sheet than Raya, so I think I'd rather just be all in. Can you suggest a wild card? I haven't thought about Game Week 14 wild card, but let's be real. It's probably got João Pedro, Salah, Saka, Palmer, Gabriel, Raya, Trent, something like that. What's your thoughts on Cucurella over Colwill if money isn't an issue? Is Cucurella that attacking? He just got an assist. I realised that, so maybe not the best time to ask that question. Let me just see his numbers. Yeah, I don't think he's all that attacking, really. Like is he 0.5 million more or is he 0.4 million more? Let me see. Chelsea. Cucurella. He's 5. I'm not really convinced he's worth 0.5 million. And I know I've said this already this week about other players. But just because you don't need the money now does not mean you're never going to need it. So I don't know. I think I would just get Colwill, honestly, and save the money. Cucurella is fine, but not for me. He should be pretty nailed, though, especially with the injury to James. Gusto can never stay fit either, usually. Solanke, Van der Ven, and Anderson in the team. Who to sell with 2 free transfers? Any replacement ideas? I mean, it depends how much money you've got to spend, right? I think Solanke will probably play, but we haven't heard from Ange Postecoglou ahead of the deadline. If you need cheap defenders, then Colwill is an option, like I've just said. But you've got two injured defenders, but you've got 3 others, right? So you might be able to play them. So potentially just one of those defenders to Colwell and roll the other transfer. Harden and Burmo, Aina to Mo, Colwell, and Jackson -4. I think that's going to have to go under a don't hate it. I think it's fine to want Salah over Haaland at the moment, and Jackson's good. It doesn't feel right selling Haaland and Burmo for a hit this week, I've got to be honest, but do you really need to do the Aina to Colwell move? Is your defence that bad outside of it? Jackson captain, yes or no? Not for me. Wood to João Pedro, Solanke to Jackson -4. I wouldn't take the -4. I would just do one of those moves. Probably the Chris Wood one. Start Rodgers and McNeil. Probably Rodgers. Well, that's probably quite a close call this week, I guess, with Wolves at home. Thoughts on Palmer triple captain? I think I'd rather save it for a home game where you haven't got like fixture congestion. I'm pretty confident Palmer will start. I'm not so confident that he'll go and play 90 minutes. I think, in fact, he probably won't. So I'm not sure I'd risk triple captain today. You're glowing today. I've probably just got the lights turned up too bright, so it's reflecting off my forehead probably. Team currently is got to bench one of Rodgers and Wood. Don't know who. I would bench Wood, like I just mentioned. Rest of the team looks pretty solid, I would say. I mean, I think at this point, if you've got Salah, Saka, Palmer, and like an Arsenal defender, you're probably pretty well set. Can't wait for Man United to score once and wipe out triple Arsenal defender clean sheet again. Yeah, there's lots of people that really want my triple clean sheet to be wiped out every week. I'm glad you're all thinking of me so much. Play 3 of Mbeumo, Semenyo, Wood, Mikalenko, Matsurawi. Have to use one defender. Mbeumo, Semenyo, and Mikalenko. Did you wish you kept Strand Larsen and had that extra transfer? Again, no, I wish I had less points and less transfers. Any news from Vardio? No news. Bench potentially because he hadn't been playing that well, but I'd be pretty confident he comes back in against Nottingham Forest. Martinez update. I think Unai Emery said they need to see him in training or something. I had it up earlier. Had the news. I think he said they got to see him in training. Yeah, I think it basically said it depends. It depends what happens in training or something like that. If you're talking about Aston Villa's Martinez. If Bruno scores, it's mixed emotion. I want Bruno to score, let's be real. Like, I don't want Man... Like, if I get a triple clean sheet, that means Man United haven't scored, so they haven't won the game. I'd rather they win the game. For my comment section, it'd probably be better to get the Arsenal clean sheet. But it's only a couple of days until the next deadline, so it's not the end of the world. I might not have triple Arsenal defence by the next deadline. I want Jackson, but he's predicted to be benched. I'm not convinced. I think he'll start. But, I mean, I'd like it if he was benched. I'm not convinced he will be. I think an early substitution is almost guaranteed, though. Thank you for encouraging me not to be scared to sell Haaland. I've gone from 500k to 70k. I'm not sure I said don't be scared. I think did I not say that it's a pretty scary thing to do? Pick 2 out of 3 to start. Smith Rowe, Rodgers, or Vardy. Who have Leicester got? Oh, they got West Ham at home. I would... Oh, that's a tough one. I'd be tempted to play Vardy. I'd bench Smith Rowe. Play one of Mbeumo, Semenyo, Wood... Oh, no, I did that one. I think I'm caught up. Happy days. Strand Larsen or Semenyo to start this week. I'd be tempted to go Semenyo, honestly. Start one, Colwell, Calvert-Lewin, Rodgers. If you still got Calvert-Lewin, I'm starting him against Wolves at home. Why not? One last hurrah. Like, Wolves' defence is pretty generous. Maybe this is the game that Calvert-Lewin will start. Although, hang on a second. Didn't he get benched last game? Did he get benched? Is he going to come back into the team? He got benched, didn't he? Yeah, 23 minutes. Does he come back into the team? Any Everton fans? Is he going to... Oh, I've got him in draft, actually. I think he'll play. I'd play him against Wolves. I guess there is some doubt there. You said it was scary, but to look at all them teams without them and made a valid point that swung it for me. Okay, happy days. Well, it worked out pretty nicely, right? I'm glad you're 70k. It took me from 2.9 to 900k, I guess. It's not too bad. I think he was ill or something. Okay. He did come off the bench, though. Couldn't have been that ill. Start Hermansen or Raya. Think United will score. I suspect West Ham will probably score as well. I would probably play Raya, but if you're sure that Man United will score and you're not sure if West Ham will, then you should probably play the other goalkeeper, right? Fantasy Football Hub seems to suggest benching Isak is the play. That really depends on what the other options are, right? So basically, Isak said in an interview that he's fit. Eddie Howe said it's all about pain management and they haven't seen him in training yet. He didn't say he was out, but he also didn't confirm that he was fine. I would bench Isak. Sorry, the decision whether to bench Isak really depends on who else you could play, right? Like, I can't even think of a good example right now. Like, Isak versus Rodgers, I'd be tempted just to play Isak and hope for the best. That he's either starting or not in the squad. If it was Isak versus Mbeumo, I'd probably just play Mbeumo, but not many people are probably benching him this week, so it's probably a terrible example. Rumours that Deitch and Calvert-Lewin fell out at Ipswich. Oof, not seen them. I still think if I had him and you got Wolves at home, I'd probably start him. T, thank you. 3 free transfers, 1.8 in the bank. Should I do... Oh, this is going to be one of those that I just can't keep track of. Should I do Wood to Nicholas Jackson or Wood, Haaland and Mbeumo to Nicholas Jackson, Watkins, João Pedro and Salah? Don't feel right to sell Haaland. Well, if you don't want to sell Haaland, don't do it. I think it's perfectly okay to keep him this week. Chris Wood to Nicholas Jackson sounds okay to me. Keep Haaland and just don't get Salah. You could always do Haaland to Salah next week or something if you wanted to. Is bench boost a consideration for me? Not really. I don't expect a clean sheet from Fabianski, Pinnock, and Reeves might not even play. Play Semenyo or Mbeumo? Mbeumo for me, I think. If I had Vardy, like, there's probably some squads where it makes sense to bench him, but I think I'd want to play him against that West Ham defence. Do a poll on captaincy. Okay, I'll just put this up now at the start of the stream. Your Game Week 14 captain. So, Salah, Saka, Palmer. Haaland's probably the top, right? Is anyone really going to be going for non-Saka? I'm just going to put those 4 up. I'm not messing around with other... So Haaland, Palmer, Saka, Salah, JK. Oh yeah, I had this problem with the alphabet the other day. If you're going for someone else, just don't vote on the poll. But I suspect those are the main 4. There's always someone that's like, oh, do you know what? I was going to captain Strand Larsen, so I can't vote. Cunha triple captain or too crazy? That does sound a bit crazy. Who to bench of the following? Fabianski or Verbruggen? Verbruggen, I think. Luka Dean, Pedro Porro, I guess that is. Or Ait Nouri. To bench just one of them. I'd probably... Bournemouth away. I guess Ait Nouri. Everton do struggle to score goals. Solanke, Semenyo or João Pedro. Bench one of those as well. Probably... Maybe João Pedro. I think if it was me, I'd bench Semenyo, but it's quite a close on that. Is Kelleher being overlooked in 14? Have 3 free transfers and rest of the squad is looking fine. I think Slot said something like, there's no point risking Alisson until he's 100% because Kelleher's playing well. Something like that. I'm probably misquoting him a little bit. So Kelleher's probably going to play in 14, maybe 15, but he's not gonna be in the team for that much longer. Like by the end of December, Alisson's back in. So I don't see the point in using a transfer on Kelleher, to be honest. Hey, thank you. New member. Need to flex on 40th overall rank in FPL Challenger. Here's a rare FPL Challenge question. By the way, congratulations. The 2 best under 6.5 million forwards for 1 week. Currently, Evan Nielsen and Delap. Under 6.5. I've not played Challenge all season. Delap against Crystal... Vardy, maybe? Against West Ham? Is he better than Evan Nielsen and Delap, though? Probably not. I mean, João Pedro, but away to Fulham. Oh, you've gone for Evan Nielsen, home to Spurs. Yeah, the only other one that really springs to... I mean, Calvert-Lewin, if you really want to take a risk. Vardy, possibly. I don't know who I would put him in ahead of Evan Nielsen and Delap. Any updates on Dunk starting for Brighton? Not really, no. the problem is Brighton aren't playing until Thursday, so we won't hear from Hertzler until tomorrow. He wasn't in any of the training photos, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's out. Glenn, I don't know what you want confirmation of. No one's going to have the Chelsea lineup before the deadline. I think I have it as Semenyo over Pedro equals Solanke. I'm not sure João Pedro's is... maybe, yeah. Yeah, you might be right. I guess there is risk with Solanke this week. I've kind of... I'm kind of treating Solanke as someone that's definitely going to start, but I guess there is some risk there. Warrior Chief, thank you very much. I need your approval of my comment on your video, Tet. I got to be honest, I ain't going looking for all my comments now while I'm streaming. Really tempted to bench João Pedro for Buonanotte. Am I mental? Not mental, no. I probably wouldn't do that, but Buonanotte against West Ham at home, not bad at all. Downgrade Bruno to fund Trent for next game week. I would rather just hold Bruno and decide what to do next week. If you still really want to do that, you can just sell him next week. But if something else comes up where you suddenly don't want Trent or you've got to make another move, having Bruno for Forest at home would be quite good, I think. Start Cavalier or Isak or take a -4. I'd probably start Isak. Do we think Palmer and Salah will be rested? I think there's almost no chance that Salah's rested, and I think there's hardly any chance that Palmer will be rested either. Have Isak and Hall, 1.4 million, 2 free transfers, have to play one. Definitely Isak. Sell both for Trent and Evan Nielsen. Have João Pedro also have 4.5 striker. Him to Strand Larsen and play him. I think if you're going to sell, if you're going to use the transfer, just do Trent and Evan Nielsen, I think. But I think Lewis Hall and Isak are both not that bad from next week. So I'd make sure you're super sure about that move. And just on Trent as well, it's worth pointing out he is just back from a hamstring issue. His minutes will be limited for the next couple of matches. Is there a small chance he gets benched for one of the next two? I think possibly a small chance. If I had to bet money, I'd probably put it on 2 starts. But that's the only thing I'd say about Trent. For what it's worth, I actually don't think Trent's that bad of an option to bring in this week. I just want to set expectations. There is a little bit of a risk when you bring in a player just back from a hamstring problem. But they're obviously going to manage it because we saw him come off early against Man City. If he was fully fit, that wouldn't have happened. So they are managing it a bit, which is probably a good thing. Chris Wood and Ruta to Buonanotte get the new manager boost. I think I'd keep Ruta, no? By the way, I always used to say Rutter, but the commentators say Ruta as if like the thing plugged into my computer, which is correct. And Larson for a hit? No. I think I would keep Ruta, and I'd do Wood out if you want to, but I wouldn't take a hit. Would you start Strand Larsen or in Burmo? Probably in Burmo. Just for those penalties and 90 minutes guaranteed. Start Rodgers or Delap. I'd probably start Delap if I had him this week. Play 3. Gabriel, Timber, Pedro Porro, 8 Nuri. I'd probably bench 8 Nuri. I have Jackson. I don't think he plays because of the 5th yellow card risk, and Chelsea would rather save him for the Spurs game next week, surely. I mean, it's a possibility. Yeah, they might have thought of that, but I think it's more likely he starts. I think if you're in doubt about Jackson, just don't buy him. If you've got him, you just play him, right? Southampton. 20 months, thank you. Mikalenko to Gomez or Colwell. I think Gomez is an interesting pick that could do really well while Konate's out, but Colwell is the safe long-term pick. Colwell will be excellent for you for a long time. In terms of the rotation, I won't even pretend that I've looked at how well those two players rotate. You'd have to go and have a look for yourself. But yeah, Colwell's pretty good for quite a while. You could start Greaves given what McKenna said, but I think Rico Lewis is better, right? Who are you benching? 8 Nuri, Mikalenko, Vissel or Rodgers? Probably 8 Nuri out of those. I'm just waiting for the week that I get battered by 8 Nuri. I feel like I've gotten away with it right now. Bench 1, Semenyo, Burmo, Jimenez, João Pedro. Probably Semenyo for me, but again, him and João Pedro is quite close. I quite like Jimenez this week. It is a quick turnaround, so maybe Muniz starts, but I think Raul Jimenez will start and get subbed early again. Don't want to drop Salah or Saka. Only way to get Palmer is a -8 hit. Worth it? Probably not. I would just try and get him for less points hits from next week onwards and just captain Salah this week. Start two of Saliba, Robinson, Lewis, and 8 Nuri. Definitely Saliba, I think. The other 3 is interesting. I'm not sure. Like Robinson, definitely going to start. Rico Lewis probably will start. Ain't Nori so attacking, but it's an away game. But Everton's probably easier than Brighton and Forest. I'd be tempted to start Ain't Nori in your case. Start 2, Rodgers, Semenyo, Isak. I'd probably bench Semenyo, but obviously you know there's a bit of a risk with Isak. What do you think the chances... Sorry, what do you think Solanke's chances of a benching or reduced minutes are, i.e. playing less than 70? I don't think it's that high. I mean, it's hard to know, right? Because he was out with illness. We don't know what kind of illness it was and how hard it hit him. Like, we know ourselves, right? Sometimes you get ill for a little bit. It's not that bad. You're back fresh pretty quick. And sometimes it can, like, linger. So if it was just a quick thing, like a little bug for 48 hours or whatever, then he's probably fully fine. And now he's had a rest as well. So I feel like once he's back in that 11, his minutes will probably be quite good. Maybe I'm just a overly optimistic owner. But I've got concerns about Rodgers, for example. I've got concerns about not having Saka. I'm not massively worried about Solanke, but maybe that's because I've just had it in my head that he's definitely going to start and I've not really thought about it too much, which is definitely a possibility. Bench Ain't Nuri, Gabriel, Robinson or Lewis. I'm going to say Robinson, but I think it's close between him, Ain't Nuri and Lewis. I know that doesn't help that much, but I think that's what I would do. Do we think Trent will be guaranteed 60 plus? I think it's more likely that he plays 60 plus than doesn't, put it that way. I just want to set the expectations with people that if he was to be subbed early or if he was to not start one of the next 2 games, I don't think it would be a major shock. But if I had to bet money on it, I think he gets more than 60 in both games. Because you need to build that fitness up as well, and you can only do that by playing. Start one of Estepinian, Rico Lewis or Leif Davis. Away to Fulham, home to Forest, and Ipswich are home. I start Leif Davis, I think. Home to Palace. Yeah. Start Hall or Ain't Nuri. Ain't Nuri definitely for me out of those 2. Start Johnson or McNeil. Like Brennan Johnson. I think you definitely start Brennan Johnson, right? Start Visser or Isak. Do you know what? Maybe in that case I'd start Visser just because of the slight risk with Isak. Kelleher, maybe he'll stay number 1. I think once Alisson is 100% fit, he will 100% be the number 1. I think there is 0 chance of Kelleher keeping the position. Kelleher's a good goalkeeper, but he's not Alisson. You need Palmer and get Jackson. They've got good fixtures. Yeah, I've got Palmer. I'm all right without Jackson for a little while longer. Who to bench between Ain't Nuri, Carwell or Greaves? I mean, definitely Greaves, right? Definitely. Bench one of Isak, Bowen and Neto. I mean, if you've got Bowen, he's got Leicester, so it ain't going to be him, is it? Neto, is he definitely going to start for Chelsea? I mean, Madueke could come back in, right? And Neto doesn't necessarily play off the left. I mean, Isak's a bit of a risk as well. Neto's definitely got the fixture. I would probably bench Neto. That's quite a close one, though. Bench Diaz or Wood. Who started the last game? Diaz and Gakpo, right? So it's quite likely that the Darwin Nunez comes back in, probably. Wood will almost certainly start and he's on penalties, but he's got the tougher fixture. Diaz might be on the bench. I'd probably start Chris Wood. Bench one of Johnson, Mbeumo, Visser or João Pedro. So many benching questions this week. Visser, I think. Selling Calvert-Lewin, Mbeumo and Rico Lewis for Evan Nielsen, Semenyo and Trent for free. All sound pretty nice. If Mbeumo to Semenyo is to fund the other moves, then fair enough. Otherwise, I don't think you need to do it this week. Is there any explanation to Mbeumo's low data position tactics, Visser's return? Possibly. I mean, I've got to be honest, I won't have looked into it massively. It could be those things that Visser is taking up more central positions and Mbeumo's asked to stay wide. It could just be that the first few games haven't been great for him. I would always prefer in these situations just to back the historical data and say that Mbeumo's still pretty good. But it really depends who you're taking out, right? It really depends who you're bringing in. I might sell Mbeumo next week. I know some people think I'm so tied to him. There's no way I could ever sell him. I might sell him next week. I might get Saka for Mbermo. Yeah, no XG in 5 out of 6 games, not great, but again, it's quite a small sample, right? Like, I guess the question to ask yourself is: Do you think 5 of 6 games? Bearing in mind that means you're saying one of the games was fine. Do you think 5 of the last 6 is a representation of what he is now, or do the last 2 seasons make you think he could improve at some point? Right now, the fixtures aren't that great, so you don't have to take the risk on the numbers improving. You can just sell him. All I would think of it is like this: Mbermo is not essential, right? If you want to sell him, there is very little risk there. I think with the fixtures that are coming up, people are starting to sell him. He's dropping in price. I think it's fine to do. I'm more likely to hold him though. For now, I'm just going to roll. I might sell him next week. Got Haaland, Saka, Salah, and Palmer. Who to captain? I would probably captain Palmer, but if you're feeling ballsy, go for Haaland. Bench 1, Welbeck, João Pedro, Isak, and Mbermo, Smith Rowe. Probably Smith Rowe. Play Fabianski or Martinez. Fabianski, I think. And bench 1 out of Rodgers, Semenyo, Welbeck, or Mbermo. Rodgers. Bench 1, Ain't Nuri, Vardy, Timber, and Porro. Ain't Nuri. Damn, some of you got some benching headaches. I guess I have too. But I'm a wimp and I'm going to play Fernandes. He wasn't as great with Tony. Yeah, that's fair. Who to bench? Isak, João Pedro, Mitoma, or Rodgers? Rodgers, probably. Wood to João Pedro for 1 free transfer or bank the transfer. I would. I'd probably use it. I will say, though, João Pedro not pictured in any of the training photos, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's out. But I guess it is a slight risk. I'm likely to roll the transfer, yes. It doesn't feel great. But again, the only player I feel like I'm missing right now massively is Saka. So hopefully that Man United defence can do me a favour. I very much doubt it, but you never know. You never, ever know. Is João Pedro a risk now? I feel like he's always a risk. Sell Isak and get Jackson for a -4. I probably wouldn't take the hit. Why starting Mbermo over Rodgers? Penalties, 90 minutes. Pretty much. If I was going to start Rodgers, it would be for Fernandes instead. Vardy, Lewis, Ain't Nuri, Fast, Hall. Swap 1 for who? I mean, Fast for Trent, but I don't know how much money you've got in the bank, right? I mean, Fast for Trent would be quite nice, or Fast for Gabriel, also good. Bench 1 of Strand Larson, or Lewis, or Hall. No, not Hall. Lewis for like Gabriel. Bench 1 of Larson, Semenyo, Evan Nielsen, or Rodgers. Probably Larson, I think. It's probably close between him and Rodgers. Just because it's away, maybe. Visser and Mbermo to Jackson, Ruta, Rodgers. Who is better? I would probably... The thing is, right, Ruta's been playing quite a lot, but that right side for Brighton, and obviously the central positions, there's so many players that can play those roles. And so the chances are, even if he starts, he gets subbed early, but then Rodgers gets subbed early quite a lot as well. How much is he? 5.6. It's quite tempting with the fixtures. I think Ruta is the more upside play. But I have to tell you that I don't know if he's 100% nailed going forward. Triple Captain Palmer 2 risk. Oh, I don't know if risk is the right word, but I probably wouldn't do it. Bench who for Jackson? João Pedro, Rodgers, Smith Rowe. Probably Smith Rowe. 2 free transfers. Wood, Mikalenko to João Pedro, Colwell, bench Rodgers. I would, honestly, I would just roll. I would just bench Wood for Rodgers and play Mikalenko. Just have 3 free transfers next week. I don't mind Wood. I think Wood to João Pedro is fine. I don't think you need to do both moves. I'd roll at least one of those transfers, I think. By the way, the only João Pedro doubt is the fact that he wasn't in any of the photos. There's nothing else to say that he's out. Like 0 things. I wouldn't let it affect your decisions too much. Is a hit worth it if I'm bringing in Palmer, Odegaard, and João Pedro? It depends who you're taking out. Possibly. Matsurawi to Colwell. I've got 4 free transfers. In your case, maybe, because you've got so many spare. But Matsurawi could be good next week. I really like Matsurawi. I think he's such a good player. Whether he's a great FPL option remains to be seen, but it seems like he's pretty nailed. Am I avoiding Saka? I'm probably not taking a hit to bring him in this week. but I might get him next week. I think it's very likely that I buy him next week. I don't know how many more weeks I can go without him. C. Brady, thank you very much for upgrading. Bench 2 of Wan-Bissaka, Davis, Nuri, and Aina. Well, Aina's got Man City away, right? I think I would definitely play Davis at home. I think Wan-Bissaka and Nuri is quite close. I think I would just go for Nuri because I'm not convinced Wan-Bissaka can keep up these level of attacking returns. What does Az say about João Pedro? I don't know, to be honest with you. He did think that Barco was amazing though, so I hope he's watching. Kush's brother. So you probably shouldn't say things like that because that means you're less likely to get an answer. Like Kush, you know. Should I get Saka and replace João Pedro? I wouldn't worry about replacing João Pedro, but getting Saka is pretty good. Your positivity has convinced me on Solanke over João Pedro. I had Solanke in my bus team before he missed with injury. Don't come back to me if that doesn't work out. I just look. I know we always say this with players that are doubts, but I do genuinely think with Solanke, he's either starting or he's not in the squad at all. I think the chance of a bench cameo is quite low, and I think if he does start, I think his minutes are good. Neil predicts Nkunku to start over Jackson. It could happen. I hope it happens, but I'm not sure it will. But Neil's better than me at predictions, so. In Burmo / Isak to Saka João Pedro for -4. Will Isak play 50+? I think there's a chance because it's such a big game, but not a guarantee. I wouldn't take that -4, I don't think. Bench Rodgers or Wood? Wood, probably. Am I going to start Bruno? I think so. But I do like the look of this. If this was... I don't know, it's easy to say this because it's literally not the case, right? But if this was game week 5 and we just had a week off, right? There was no midweek games. No one was playing in Europe. I'm pretty sure I would start Rodgers over Fernandes. But because it's a midweek game, there has to be a chance at some point that Rodgers either gets benched or he gets brought off early again. So could Rodgers go off on like 65, 70 minutes? It's possible. With Fernandes, he's 100% going to start, right? No doubts in my mind whatsoever. He's probably going to play close to 90 minutes, and he's on penalties. It's just the fixture, right? It's such a tough game. Even this week with Arsenal at home to Man United, they are one of the odds-on favourites to get a clean sheet. Like, that's how strong they are. So, like, it's a really close call. I just honestly I can't get out of my head the worst case scenario. And if Rodgers is benched or gets sub really early and Fernandes wipes the clean sheet and he's on my bench, it's just not going to be a good look. It's going to feel like an absolute disaster. And obviously I'm going to be watching that game. So I think I've got to go for the hedging your bets play rather than the all-in play. Yeah, I think things like United are going to batter Arsenal, Amorim's levels above Arteta is just probably not true, is what I'll say. I think Bruno, Ahmad, Rashford could cook versus Arsenal. I mean, possibly, but like, as much as Amorim might improve Man United very quickly, right? Don't forget that Arsenal are one of the best teams in the league, right? And they are very well drilled. They've been playing together for a long time in the same system. You know, the chances of Man United going and battering Arsenal away from home is extremely slim, I think. If West Ham can score twice against Arsenal, so can Man United. Maybe, but one of the goals was an absolute worldie of a free kick, and the other goal was when they were already like 3 or 4-0 up. So would they have switched off as much? I think that's a bit harsh because it was a good pass and it was a good run from Wan-Bissaka. If that was like 1-0, would that goal have still happened? Possibly not. United versus Arsenal, 0-0 at 60 minutes. Saliba and Gabriel both go off with knocks and then Fernandes scores. That'd be quite nice. Yeah, nonsense is what I was going to say, but I thought I'd be a bit nicer. Like, don't forget that only a couple of games ago, Man United drew with Ipswich. Now, that was the first game, and since then there's been a bit of improvement, but look, it's a few games, just relax. Arsenal away is tough. You should bench Fernandes, win-win. If United win and Bruno Halls, you're happy as a fan. If United lose and at least you didn't have Fernandes in your team. That is true, but if he's the one that wipes out the clean sheet, that will be a killer. Why am I keeping Raul Jimenez? He's got Brighton at home. I see a lot of people selling Chris Wood. Don't you think there is a swing post game week 14 for the better? Yeah, the fixtures aren't that bad, I don't think, especially after City. After City and Man United, the fixtures are okay. But I think it depends on, like, if you've got a really good option you can play instead, then I think you could bench him. But I do think there are probably better forwards over the next few weeks. Yeah, I'm not getting into a conversation about bottling stuff. It's just, yeah, it's always the word people use when someone doesn't win. This game week isn't televised anywhere in Ireland. It's probably on Premier Sports. Usually if it's a midweek where Amazon have got all the games for the UK, it's usually on Premier Sports. And they've got all the games as well. The only thing is the red button always works terribly. So like, I remember last time I had to watch whichever game was on. I couldn't switch to any of the others. What do you think about selling Chris Wood, buy Jackson and bench Rodgers, or just play Rodgers, bench Wood and save the transfer? I quite like the save the transfer option. Konate to Van Dijk and Mbeumo to Semenyo for a hit, or start Lewis Hall. I'd either start Lewis Hall or sell Konate to someone cheaper. I think I'd rather do that for free, that move. Is Odegaard going under the radar? Maybe a little bit, but mostly because everyone wants Saka instead, which I think is absolutely fine. Visser or Rodgers? Probably Visser. Best long term, Johnson, Mitoma, Smith Rowe, Semenyo. Probably Johnson or Semenyo. I know what's wrong with Mitoma. He was in training at least, so hopefully he'll be fine. Start 3, 1 defender. Bruno, Wood, Rodgers. I'd bench Wood. I'd bench Wood and probably Aït-Nouri. Why both Arsenal defenders? Why not? Because the other options for me are Greaves and Pinnock. Kukureya under the radar. I think I'd rather just pay 0.5 million less for Colwell. What would you do now if you're a Haaland owner? Would you be prioritising selling or tempted to hold? I'd be tempted to hold Forest at home. But again, it's the same conversation we've had every week since game week 10. It really depends on whether you're happy with the rest of your squad. It's not like, it was never just about getting Salah instead of Haaland, right? That was just a very lucky swing. It was also about the money you got to spend elsewhere. Oliver, new member, thank you. Would you start Luka Dean or Aït-Nouri? Luka Dean, probably. Seems like this week you aren't going to be happy with Fernandes either way. He either blanks or wipes out the triple clean sheet. Don't see the upside in him. Well, if he wipes out the triple clean sheet, I'll have some points, right? Start Fabianski or Raya. Answer on your screen. Why is everyone ignoring SGP? I just don't think many people are buying defenders around that price. I think if you look at Brighton, you can get cheaper ones, 0.5 less. I think Eshipinian's an interesting punt, to be honest with you. But I'm not sure people have got that kind of money for defenders most time at the moment while trying to get in all these premium midfielders. Premier Sports gets one 3 p.m. game, but you don't get to choose it. So they'll always have one every week, but it's up to them who it is. Raya to Sanchez for a hit allows Bruno to Salah. I probably wouldn't take a hit to do that. I mean, I'd be a little bit tempted probably, but I'm not sure I would do it. Garnacho on the bench, Mbeumo and Isak in the 11. Garnacho to Kudus or Mbeumo to Bowen. Will be either Mbeumo or Garnacho first sub to cover Isak. I'd probably just roll, I think. But if you have to do one, Mbeumo to Bowen. How do you usually go about playing your attackers versus defenders? Avoid to maximise potential or both for diversification? It really depends, right? It depends who it is. Like, this week, if I was certain that Rodgers was going to go and play 80 to 90 minutes, I'd probably play him over Fernandes. But as I'm not, I'm just going to play Fernandes, even though I got triple defence. Like, if it's Mikalenko versus someone else, it depends who the other defender is, right? If the other defender is terrible, I would just play Mikalenko. If the other defender is competitive, then I would bench the guy against your attackers. But it really depends. Some people like hedging their bets. Some people like going all in on the upside. On wildcard, Trent and Mitoma or Van Dijk and Johnson. Ooh, Trent and Mitoma, I think. Why am I sleeping on SGP? Just spoke about SGP. Is Haaland really a definite sell? Nope. Euro starting tomorrow. That seems quite unlikely to me. That'd be a bit of a big game to bring him in for. I mean, you never know, right? But seems quite unlikely. What do you gain by going without Saka? Not much. Isn't it better to bite a bullet this week and get him in? I would if I had 2 free transfers. But I don't, so I'm probably just going to roll. And also with Saka is, I'm not 100% sure how I want to get him in. Like, do I go from Saliba to Colwell and then Burmo to Saka? Or do I go Saliba to Van Dijk and Fernandes to Saka? Or do I even do Saliba to Colwell, Fernandes to Saka and wait and get Trent another week? I don't know. I think this week, if I was doing it, I'd probably sell Fernandes, but next week I might prefer to keep him. Over the next 4 weeks, you think it's worth getting Bowen over in Burmo? Then going to wildcard in 19 for Haaland back. On 19 wildcard, I'd have to wait until closer to the time to, think about whether Haaland's worth it. I think it'll be interesting for sure. I think Bowen will probably outscore I think Bowen will probably outscore in Burmo. Whether or not it's worth a transfer, though, I'm still not completely convinced about that. Start one. Lewis, Porro, Robinson. Probably still Porro, even though you've got Semenyo. Haven't played my wildcard, but don't necessarily need to. Is it worth doing it before the refresh? Well, you got to use it before game week 20 start. But basically, I think game week 19 is the last week you can use it. You might as well use it then, even if you're making like only 2 changes, right? Palmer captain Salah in Burmo to A Matoma, B Bowen for free, or C keep. I would just probably keep him. You're right about the data, but I'd probably just keep him and roll the transfer. How good of an option is Trent? Potentially very good. Like, attacking numbers are pretty good. The assists aren't there yet, but I think they will come. But he is just back from a hamstring problem, so his minutes might be limited over the next couple. How good would my team look color-coded? Probably great, but I can never bother to mess around with that. It's not too bad, like, changing the defenders, but I always find the attackers are a pain to move around. Bench Brennan Johnson or Fernandes? Fernandes. I feel Raul Jimenez will be benched, don't you think? I don't think it's a guarantee. It's possible, for sure. But he's played international break, then come straight into the team, so I'm not super worried about Raul Jimenez, but I also wouldn't be completely shocked if he does get benched. I would Fabianski or Henderson. I think I'd go Henderson. Let me just. Nick, how's it going? Is Matoma actually injured? He was in training, so hopefully he'll be fine. No way Palmer blanks, it's impossible. No way Saka blanks, impossible. Wouldn't it be nice, though? Odegaard, Vardy, Gomez, or Saka, Dudge striker, Harwood, Bellis. The first set sounds better to me overall, even though it sounds horrible going with that. Like, if Harwood Bellis doesn't need to be played that much, he's like your 5th defender, maybe the Saka route. I think the first 3 players are probably better overall. Not fun going without Saka, though, let me tell you that. It was much better when he was blanking in game weeks, when was it? 13, 12, 10 and 11, and no one was talking about him. Now it's like absolute killer. Odegaard's wife gave birth. He might miss the game. I think that's probably unlikely. Such a big game. Long-term swap for Aina. Already got Cole, Aitner, and Kirkes. Well, how much money, right? I'd go to an Arsenal or Liverpool defender if you can. What do you think about Aina? Fixture's not that bad. Is attacking as the third highest scoring defender in the game. I think the fixtures are quite bad for clean sheets, to be honest. I certainly wouldn't be buying him if you don't already have him. Why does Ahmad all of a sudden look like Messi? Just the Amorim factor. He's just that good. Keep Raul Jimenez or sell 2 players at 8-point cost for Nicholas Jackson. Like so even if Nicholas Jackson scores a brace and gets 3 bonus, that's what, 13 points? Your 8 points means you've gained 5. I mean, you might gain points from the other players you buy, right? But let's just say it's 5 for Jackson. Can Raul Jimenez outscore 5? He needs 1 goal. I don't think it's worth an 8-point hit. Please solve my benching headache. Flecken or Fabianski? I would play Fabianski. Wood or Rogers? Probably Rogers. Why does benching headaches always end up with the wrong player? It probably doesn't, but we always remember when it goes wrong. Is Saka a must-buy considering Arsenal's fixtures? I think if you can get Saka for free, he's a very good pickup, yeah. Would you play Mbeumo over Chris Wood? I think so, yeah. Play Cunha or Rogers? Definitely Cunha, no doubt about that. If I use triple captain today, still Saturday counts too. No, this is a single game week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday games for this game week, and then Saturday games will be for game week 15. It's not a double game week or anything like that. Who would you start out of Aina, Hall, and Fass? Probably Fass, to be honest with you. Where's the Jackson option on the captaincy pile? Couldn't fit him in, unfortunately. Palmer, massive. Look, Saka 5%. This is what I was saying about captaining. No, everyone talks about Saka, but no one actually wants to captain him. Haaland 12%, Salah 13%. Yeah, Palmer's going to be massive this week. I was hoping that people would stick to Salah because of another haul. But I guess the Southampton factor, right? Pick 4 out of Vissa, João Pedro, Cunha, and Mbeumo, Bruno. I would bench Vissa probably. I think. Don't you want to change Solanke? Not really. I mean, honestly, I kind of just want to have 2 free transfers next week. Granted, I'm going to have 2 free transfers next week, and I'm pretty much just going to use them to get the same team everyone's got this week. But it feels better than taking the -4 to do it. Bench one of Semenyo, Rogers, Pedro, Strand, Larson. I got to be honest, like, a lot of these questions are the same. We've probably had them multiple times. I've probably changed my answer from earlier ones. Probably Strand, Larson. No news on the mystery chip yet. Jackson is the most transferred in player this week. Oh, I'd love it if he's benched. It'd be so good. Because if he's benched, not only... I'm sorry to any Jackson owners out there. But if he's benched, that means not only does he miss Southampton, but he also still has a chance of getting a yellow card at some point and then miss another game. That would be quite nice, especially as I've dodged him. Sorry, Jackson owners. Play Solanke or Semenyo. I'd play Solanke, I think. I can't decide between Salah and Palmer captain. Currently on Palmer, but Southampton will take it upon themselves to manage a clean sheet just to spite me. I don't think they will. And they're also missing a few players, right? I don't think Jackson will be benched, by the way. But I guess it could happen. João Pedro in, like, giving Kunku a chance in the league, maybe. João Pedro in for Isak, Solanke, or Wood. Probably Wood. I think Isak's good from next week. I'm top 3k. Took a punt on Son this week. Good luck. There is still a very small part of me that kind of wants to take a bit of a punt on Son, because I can do Mbeumo straight to Son and just keep Fernandes. Like, that's quite nice. But I just know every week I'll be regretting not having Saka instead. Like, could Son get close to Saka's points? Could he get close? Because if he could, then I prefer having the triple defence. I'm not sure I'm prepared to risk it. And I love Saka as well. He's so good. Would you start Johnson or over Nielsen? Probably over Nielsen, I think. Yeah, exactly. That's what makes me think that Jackson will start, because he got subbed quite early against Villa. I just saw a clip of Palmer saying he used to fail his PE. Honestly, I think Cole Palmer is great in media. He just is himself, and I love it. I saw that clip as well. He was basically like, I'm probably paraphrasing a little bit, but he was asked whether any of the teachers in his, like, you know, when he was at, I was going to say school career. That's a bit of a weird way of wording it. But if there's any teachers that he could, like, not dedicate to, but like helped him or whatever, and he just said no. he said no offense, teachers, but none. And he said, did you like any subjects? No. What about PE? Failed it. I think Cole Palmer's brilliant. I want to hear more from Cole Palmer. Any teachers that like really helped you? No, none of them. None at all. I'm a Spurs fan. I can assure you that Son is nowhere near the level he was last year. Yeah, that's my worry. But then form changes quite quickly. You know, maybe he'll be amazing in a few weeks. Johnson has the third highest XG after Haaland and Salah. Yeah, he gets a lot of chances and a lot of the back posts, which are nice and easy to score, right? And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. That's where you want to be taking shots from, that close to goal. My gut says to captain Saka over Palmer. Yeah, you could go for it. Like, Saka's certainly not terrible this week. Is there an obvious player for Mbermo? I have Haaland, Salah, Palmer, and 2 free transfers. Saka, but you probably can't get to him. Not really. I would be tempted just to roll. Like, you could go to Bowen, Mitoma. I don't know if they're massively better this week, though. Starting Mbermo or Semenyo. Mbermo for me. I remember you loving Johnson. Have I said otherwise? I had Johnson at the end of last season. I've never said Johnson is bad this season, right? I feel like for the last 3 or 4 game weeks, I've been questioning why people are selling Johnson. Harry Black, thank you. Disrespect for Salah is insane, captain. What disrespect? Like, because I'm not captaining him when Palmer's got Southampton. If Salah had blanked the last 3 matches, would you be more likely to do your Mbermo to Son move? Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I try and not let form dictate my decisions, but like, I'm only human, right? So I probably am more inclined to get Saka because he's got 31 points the last 2 weeks. Yeah. And also, there is part of me that just wants to continue the triple Arsenal defence experiment just to see how it goes. But also, I've got to... The problem is, like, I feel like it's pretty much like this. If I keep triple Arsenal defence, I have to stop reading my comments and replies to my tweets because it'll give me a headache. If I just sell one and get Saka, I can go back to reading and replying a bit more. So I think it's probably better if I just sell one of them and get Saka. Mbermo to Semenyo for me next week to free cash up for Trent. Nice, yeah. I think a lot of people will end up doing that eventually. I don't think there'll be a rush to do it, but I think a lot of people will do that. Because I think money will be needed for defence soon. All it takes is Arsenal to get a few clean sheets in a row, or Trent to finally get an attack and return. And people will want them more. At this point, you're genuinely not buying Saka just to annoy us. I mean, no, I won't say what I was going to say. But no, I don't know how many more times I can say this. If I hadn't bought Saliba, I still wouldn't have got Saka the last 2 weeks. I would have kept Mbermo and Fernandes for their decent enough fixtures. Like, so I wouldn't have Saka in my team either way. Kabir, did I get your super chat? Probably. Oh, is Solanke fit? Sorry. We don't know. There's no press conference from Spurs. But he was only ill, so hopefully he'll be fine. João Pedro for Isaac Solanke. Well, I did that one, didn't I? Yeah, so no update on Solanke, but hopefully he'll be fine. Why would it annoy anyone? I don't know, but it definitely does. People get very frustrated. And the funny thing is, like, I'll say something in my team selection video, like, I think it probably was a mistake to go triple defense, and next week I've got 2 free transfers, so I'll probably get Saka. And then there's always a bunch of comments saying, why are you trying to justify triple defense? Why are you being stubborn about getting Saka? I'm like, I literally just recorded a video and said I'm going to get him next week. And it was probably a mistake to go triple defense. And that's why, like, the longer I keep it, oh god, I can imagine all the comments for weeks. Alex, you keep mentioning Johnson. I really don't know why. Like, I'm not saying Johnson's a bad pick. I'm not sure what you're expecting me to say. 3 Arsenal defenders are bad, 2 good. Yeah, I mean, look, blocking Saka was bad, but again, I've said that a million times now. I can't really say it any other way. Do both Vardiol and Lewis start versus Forest? I think Vardiol does. Lewis probably less sure, but he does keep starting, so I think there's a good chance. Shouldn't let the comments get you, but there's so many. Like, there's so many, honestly. Remember when? Yeah, I do remember that. Remember when you had to defend how good Salah was? I know. Imagine that. I had Salah and he was blank, and I had to try and tell everyone why he was still a good pick. Just imagine that now, having to tell people Salah's quite good at football. FPL Harry's benching Semenyo. That means he blanks. Possibly. I suspect Harry's team's pretty good though, right? Ain't Nuri or Dunk? I think Dunk. Sorry, I think Ain't Nuri for safety of starts. Who would you sell Saliba to fund the move? Probably Van Dijk or Colwill. But next week I might have different options. I might go for Kirkes, or I might go for a punt on Kirkes. Why not? I'll probably just go. Actually, the thing is, the only annoying thing about not taking the hit this week and doing it for free next week is Colwill has Spurs away, so it's not ideal to buy him for that game. I love the Arsenal experiment. Hopefully will reward more than hurt, but that's how you have fun with the game. Yeah, but it's not that fun, to be honest with you. Could be a new member, thank you very much. It's not all that fun. And also the main problem with triple defense is there's not an amazing alternative to Saka. Like, I just don't know if I trust Son. Like, if we thought that Son was nearly as good as Saka, then I think triple defense would be amazing. But yeah, don't see it. If United keep improving, Xerxes might be a nice cheap buy. I just don't think Xerxes is going to be an option anytime soon. You're not going to have any confidence that he keeps playing that role. Like, Amram could mix it around a bit. I probably am going to start Bruno, but I've got a feeling Rodgers is probably the correct move. It's just going to hurt if Fernandes scores. Am I crazy for captaining Haaland over Palmer? I wouldn't say crazy, no. I hope it works out for you because Haaland owners have been a bit unlucky. Rodgers is on penalties. I'm not sure that's true, to be honest. I'd love it if it was true, but I don't think it is. Smith Rowe or Semenyo? I'd probably play Semenyo, I think. How would you decide between defenders and benchings? Would you pick a better defence but worse fixture over weaker defence but better fixture? Like, without trying to cop out of answering the question, it really depends who it is. Like Arsenal having Man United at home is different to Ain't Nuri having Man United at home, for example. So if it was, I don't know, I can't. You need to give me an example. It's probably easier. But like, there's not many defenders I would probably play over Arsenal ones this week, for example. But if other defenders had Man United at home, I'd probably be more likely to bench them. Rodgers is England under-21 taker and is now on them. Tielemans missed again. But it's not a guarantee, right? You don't know that, unless you're friends with Unai Emery, I guess. Like, it could be McGinn, right? Who's on penalties for West Ham? Paquetá's first choice, I think. Vandenberg to Trent Gabriel or Mbeumo to Bowen. I'd rather do the defender upgrade, I think. I'd love it, by the way, if Rodgers was on penalties. That'd make him a brilliant option. Villa have gone over a cliff and United are on the up. Bruno for Rodgers. Possibly, yeah. Do you ever let wanting some interest in a game you're watching affect your decisions? Not massively. If it was close, I might use that as a deciding vote, I guess. But yeah, not usually. Put it this way: it wasn't great buying João Pedro just to have some representation in the Friday game last week. That was just terrible. Step into Christmas. Sorry, I'm just checking something. Why is that not working? I don't know. Wood or Rogers, Greaves or Lewis? Lewis and Rogers, I think. Could Maresca rest Jackson for Nkunku? It's possible, but we're not going to know for sure. My bet would be Jackson starts, but I guess there is a little bit of doubt there. Because you've all got me thinking how good it will be if Jackson's benched. Friendly feedback. You say to be honest a lot. Might be something to pay attention to. To be honest, seems unlikely that's going to change, you know. I once had a interview for a building society, and I did so well that I got a call back later that day to have another interview with the area manager, and then I got rejected. And then a few weeks later, I saw they re-advertised the position, so they hadn't filled it. And I emailed them. I can't remember what I said, but basically said, I know you're still hiring. I would love to have another chance or something like that. And they got me back in. The area manager was there again. And he said the reason that they rejected me was because I kept saying, I guess, before I would answer a question. So, like, I guess this, right? When you say I guess, it sounds like you're not really too sure. And because he told me that I kept saying I guess, I could not stop saying it. And it's all I could think about throughout that interview, and I never got the job. Yeah, so to be honest, ain't going to stop anytime, I'm afraid. But it was good that I got rejected for that job, because it wasn't long after that I moved to Ireland, and everything's been pretty cushy since. So thanks, Building Society people. I guess I have to thank you, right? Can't remember the name of it now. It's the Building Society in. I think it's like I think it's where Miss Millie's is now or something in Weston. I might be wrong. On the corner, the like rounded building near where the dragon was. To be honest, it was probably for the best, I guess. Yeah. There goes the Nat West ones. It was I think it was. Oh, I can't remember what it was now. Oh, I can't remember who. It used to be Bristol and West or something. Don't know what it is now. I mean, that might not have been the only reason, but that is literally what they said when I kind of emailed and said, look, you're still trying to fill it. I'm still looking for a job. Yeah, harsh, right? And once someone tells you keep saying a word, it generally doesn't help, apart from make you say it even more. Start two of Rico Lewis, Luca Dean, Ain't Nuri, and one of Rogers and Wood. Rogers, and then I think I would go for Luca Dean and Ain't Nuri. Like Lee Bomfield says, minimize routes to pain. Is this for the Rogers Fernandez mention? Cunha and Matoma, Bowen and Trent, or Jackson and Semenyo and Trent? I think long term Jackson, Semenyo and Trent probably. 2 free transfers: Kanate in Burmo to Trent, Semenyo and bench Carwell. I don't see the point in making transfers to bench Carwell. Isak to Jackson and do the former move in 15. That probably sounds better. Or roll and play Carwell and do the first move in 15. I'd probably roll. Start Roger, João Pedro, or Cunha. Probably Cunha, I think. Do. FPL, to be honest. Do. Right, sorry, where are we at? I'm distracted. Was it TSB, the bank that likes to say, I guess? It was, I can't remember what it was now. I think It used to be Bristol and West a long time ago, and then it moved. It was like a red one, but I don't think it was like Santander or anyone like that. I can't remember. We should probably move on. I guess. What would your ideal mystery chip be? The ideal mystery chip would be FPL come out and they say, we're only joking, there's no more chips. And by the way, we're not changing the rules next season. That would be the best. Would you debate for Fabianski versus Raya? I just not convinced there's a clean sheet for Fabianski. And unless I'm sure, I'd probably just always going to play the better goalkeeper. Just don't start saying so at the start of all your answers. I already do that. Maybe you're taking the mic. Mix it up with to be fair. To be fair, lad. Cunha, Palmer for Solanke and Son or roll? I'd be quite tempted to get Palmer. Doesn't feel right selling Solanke and Son, but I'd be quite tempted if that's for free. Bench Wood, Rogers, Johnson. Wood is a penalty taker. Probably Wood. But yeah, I agree. Benching penalty takers not fun. Filler phrases are so weird. It takes months of focus to change them. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I saw a guy like did a talk on this and how you can just you can just pause instead. But it's like it's so hard to actually do that. To just pause and not say anything rather than use a word to fill it up, or even like to stop. Bench one of these, Cunha and Burmo, João Pedro, Raul Jimenez. Probably João Pedro out of those. AZ, member 50 months, thank you. I have to play 2 out of 8, Nuri and Burmo, Wood, Rogers. I would play in Burmo and Rogers, I think. Can you give me a safe 2 and a hot take 2? Scott Parker or Jermaine? Oh, it's got to be Scott Parker, right? I mean, I think I would go in Burmo and 8 Nuri for hot take, I guess, just because 8 Nuri is quite attacking, but I'd bench the defender, I think. At least you're not Gary Neville saying at this moment in time every 2 seconds. There are probably lots of words and phrases that I say way too much. Mazraoui or Hall? I guess Lewis Hall this week. Britannia. I think that's... Yeah, that sounds right. Britannia. Paul knows. Right where the dragon used to be. I miss the dragon. Dragon was a great little spot. -4 to go from Bruno and Isak to Salah and Evan Nielsen. Oh God, that is quite tempting. I'd be quite tempted to do that. Yeah. I'm not sure it definitely pays off, but I quite like it. And it's not often that I like a -4. Smith Rowe to Semenyo for -4. Like that one I don't like. For sure. Visser has been good value. I'm not sure he's as good value right now. Start 2, Ahmad and Burmo Johnson. I would bench Ahmad out of those. By the parsnip thing. Yeah, exactly. The carrot, right? Alan Shearer constantly says, and that should be in the back of the net every single time someone misses a chance. I have 1 free transfer. Which option do you think? Play Aina versus City. Aina to Cole Gomez for free. Aina and Welbeck to Van Dijk and Delap. I wouldn't take a hit. I would probably do the Colwell move. I think that's a good long-term move. Start Rogers or 8 Nuri. Rogers. 2 free chances. Thinking about Solanke and Wood to Jackson and João Pedro or Evan Nielsen. I would maybe just do Wood to João Pedro, Evan Nielsen and just roll the other move. I think they're co-op bank. We're getting to the bottom of all the building sites now. I closed my co-op. I think it went Bristol and West, then Britannia, then co-op. I closed my co-op account the other day. I had about £3 in it. Do you think Vardy will start? Yes. Play 3 of Gabriel, Aina, Mazraoui, Greaves, Hall. Oh my God. Well, definitely Gabriel. God, that's a pretty horrible defense this week. I won't lie. Probably Gabriel, Lewis Hall, and I guess Greaves and hope that he starts. And then I would order the bench as probably Aina. Yeah, probably Aina before Mazraoui. Maybe, yeah. Start Rodgers in Burmo, Larson, Lewis, 8 Nuri. Yeah, sounds good. Don't see why not. So Maresca rotates for midweek, but that's usually European matches. I'm not sure we'll see the same for. I'm not sure we'll see the same for Premier League midweek games, but we'll see. Right, this is going to be a good test. And if Palmer does get rotated, then we know he's also a risk for the next time. What did you buy with the £3? I didn't. I just told him to donate it to charity. I think it might have been a little bit more, but it wasn't any more than a tenner. Captain Saka, Salah, or jacking and taking a hit for Pedro to Vissa. Sorry, why are you selling João Pedro for a hit? Unless I'm missing something. I would captain Salah over Saka, I think, but it's quite close. Any early Ipswich news? Not that I've seen. But it would be annoying if Palmer gets rotated, but everyone else is selling him, so... everyone else is captaining him, I should say. What should I do? Rare to someone less than 4.7 or Lewis to 3.9 so I can get Saka. If you haven't already got any other 4 million defenders, I'd be tempted to do the Lewis move. I once had a job interview where I kept answering questions with how long is a piece of string. Yeah, that doesn't sound ideal, I don't think. I meant start 2 of the 5. Only 2 of those 5. Rodgers and Burmo for me. If you have to start one of the defenders, so if it's one attacker and one defender, I would say 8 Nuri and Burmo probably. Otherwise, Burmo and Rodgers. Yeah, I don't think Palmer's going to be rotated. I've said that a few times now. So I think Johnson starts if Solanke is fit. Yes, probably. But I guess there is some risk there, but I think he probably will. Bench Porro or 8 Nuri and Rodgers or Semenyo. I would think I would bench 8 Nuri over Porro and I would play Semenyo over Rodgers. I realise that's kind of counterintuitive. If you don't want to play them against each other, I'd play Semenyo and 8 Nuri. Colwell does go up for set pieces. He's not like a Gabriel, but he is up there. Bench 1, Rodgers in Burmo, João Pedro, Cunha. Rodgers for me. Will I watch either of the games tonight? I might do. Might do. I mean, I need to figure out if I've got anything else I need to do. Because if I'm going to have to do anything else one of these next 3 nights, this is probably the night to dodge the football. Because tomorrow there's captaincy at play. There's the Arsenal-Man United game. Then I've got Solanke watch on Thursday. Raul Jimenez and João Pedro against each other. So if I'm going to have to miss one of the night's football, then tonight is probably the night. But I'll see. I shall see. Best goalkeepers to replace Flecken long term. Probably Raya, or if you want to go cheap, like for Bruggen's not bad either. Maybe a Nana, but it's probably not the right time to buy a Man United defensive player. I guess if it's long term, you could maybe do it, but you could also just keep Flecken one more week. Who do I bench? Isak, Semenyo, or Burmo? Probably Semenyo and hope that Isak plays. Start Semenyo, Strand, Larson, or Rodgers. Semenyo, I think. I don't know if Greaves will start. I would probably lean to more towards no, but I really just don't know. Hoyland's minutes going forward, probably not great. Super annoying we can't watch 2 complete games on any of the nights. True, but I do quite like that. Like, so for example, on Wednesday, I'll probably watch Chelsea Southampton because of Palmer captaincy. And then I like that when it hits half-time, Arsenal Man United start. And then I'll watch that until half-time, then watch the rest of the Chelsea game until Man United and Arsenal start back up again, then watch that. I quite like that. It's better than what I guess they used to have, where they'd only have like 1 or 2 games on TV. At least you can choose now. Mitoma, will he play? Should I play him even though I have João Pedro up front also? I'd play João Pedro over Mitoma, I think, but I think Mitoma will start. Bowen in for Brennan Johnson for a -4. I don't think so. Mohammed, new member, thank you very much, Mohammed. Maresca mentioned that he might field a rotated team. Would you be worried about minutes for Jackson and Palmer? The thing is, he could put in a rotated team. Doesn't mean he has to rotate everyone. I think Palmer will start. I also think Jackson will start, but maybe a little bit less sure. I don't have any notifications on anyway. And also in Ireland, you get to watch them on TV. You don't have to worry about streaming them on Amazon, which is quite nice. You're actually thinking Jimenez over Bruno. I'm definitely starting Jimenez over Bruno. Is Sports Channel subscription a business expense? It probably could be, but I don't. I don't do it. I just pay it personally. Yeah, it probably would be. Probably be perfectly reasonable to put it down as a business expense. Any Ipswich leaks? Not that I've seen. I guess they might come out at some point. Mention Burma or Semenyo? Semenyo for me. Yeah, I might start Bruno. Similar attack to yours, I just have Saka instead of Fernandes. Alright, showing off. I would definitely bench Rodgers in that case if it's literally the same. Do I go Bowen for Mbermo or roll? I'd rather roll, but if you're going to sell Mbermo soon anyway, then I don't mind going for Bowen, especially with that Leicester fixture. That could be a decent game for him. Hoping Ben Johnson gets the starts. Might need him. You never know. As a Newcastle fan, I'm conflicted. I want to captain Salah, but really want to captain Saka. You gotta go for whoever you think is scoring more points. Would I rather have Bruno returns or an Arsenal? Well, for FPL only, obviously it's the clean sheet, but I don't want that to happen. Am I in many mini leagues? Not a huge amount, no. Did I hear you say you're from Weston-super-Mare? That's where I grew up, yeah. How many points did I get last round? Like 71 or 72, something like that. Temptation for Fabianski instead of Ryan? Not really. Although it will be an absolute killer if Fabianski outscores him again. Should I start Matoma or Rodgers? Definitely Matoma for me. Why not bench Jimenez instead of Rodgers? No, I quite like Jimenez. There is a possibility of a bench, but I think he's a good option if he starts, which I think is more likely than him getting benched. Best thing about Bowen is the game timings. Game tonight when no one else playing and 2 Monday night footballs coming up. Decent rest time if that's the case. Yeah, you're right. Monday against Wolves in game week 15 and Monday against Bournemouth in game week 16. Interesting. Liverpool. Oh, there's no there's no early kickoff in game week 16 on the 14th of December. It's a bit annoying. Would you start Van Heck ahead of Rico if you had him? I think Rico Lewis is better if he starts, but there's obviously some risk there. I think I'd start Rico Lewis. But if you want to play it safe, then definitely start Van Heck. I sold João Pedro for Evan Nielsen. Is it dumb? You probably didn't need to make the move, but I don't think buying Evan Nielsen is dumb. No. I wouldn't be expecting him to get 3 assists every game for penalties, though. That's for sure. He's got decent enough amount of returns outside of that, though. I'm not sure he's better than João Pedro. Why Mbermo over Rodgers? I mean, why Rodgers over Mbermo? Like, I know everyone's frustrated with Mbermo, but it's not like Rodgers has been banging in goals every week. We don't have an update about Gabriel, but I'd be very surprised if he doesn't start. Haaland captain over Palmer is absolutely fine if that's what you want to do. Please don't spam. I can see all the questions. When am I getting Saka? Next week, probably. Maybe game week 16. Maybe never, but more likely next week. This is a Jackson or save. I'd probably save. Is Clivert a good enabler? He's fine, but I'd rather go Semenyo for 0.3 more. Currently managing a depot near Dublin and need to reissue about 30 Irish registration books. Any tips? Put some music on, I guess. I have no idea what that entails. João Pedro a doubt. He wasn't in any training photos, but that's about all we have to go on. Neither were Welbeck and Ferguson. And Welbeck, as far as we know, and Ferguson don't have any issues. But we haven't heard from Hertz that Arsenal Social released a training video with no Gabriel. Yeah, it probably does mean he's starting. Fabianski or Flecken. Fabianski this week, I think. Would you sell Isak if that allowed you to get Trent Van Dijk later? Don't have João Pedro yet. Maybe, but you could also just roll the transfer and make that like a double move later on, right? I'm not the biggest fan of free, unless it's a big upgrade that week. I'm not a big fan of freeing up money for a future move, because it might be that when you get to that week you need the money, something else is needed instead, and that you never actually needed that cash. If that makes sense. Does Fernandes to Bowen make sense? I think in the short term, Bowen is probably better. I still like holding Fernandes though, unless it's to go to like a Saka or Palmer. I think from next week, Fernandes is pretty good. I know he's got City away as well, but I think this is the tough fixture. Does the small arrow in your background, because your rank increased, do you also have one for when your rank goes down? No, that's just the design of the stream. It just so happens that it's an up arrow. It's been there every week, including the ones where I got red arrows. Yeah. So I made that mistake when selling Trent to Tim, but I don't think that was necessarily a big mistake. I also sold Trent recently. I mean, it doesn't look great now, but I don't think it was a terrible mistake. But I guess the point is, whatever move you're downgrading for, there's always a chance you won't ever make that move. So I guess just consider that. Like, it might be in some cases that you've got the best of both worlds, that you free up the money, but it's also just an upgrade to have that cheaper player anyway. And so if you think that Isak's not going to start and João Pedro definitely is, then not only are you freeing up money, you're getting a better option this week. So in that case, it might be worth it, but generally I'm not a big fan of that. Aina and Burmo to Van Dijk, Matoma -4. Probably not. Would you do Isak to Jackson? Probably not. I really like Isak from next week. So I would just hope that he starts. But I don't hate the move, that's for sure. I bet we have met. I don't think Weston's that small, necessarily. You never know, though. Maybe. Would you take a -4 for Palmer? Depends who you're selling. Eddie Howe said that it's all about pain management for Isak and that he hasn't seen him train yet. Man United on double points in challenge. Go for any or avoid. I'd probably be tempted to go for... Well, do you know what? I don't really know. In some ways, I think in challenge, because it's only... because it's just a 1 week thing, and I'd be tempted... Like a lot of people are going to go Man United, so you could just go against it, right? That could be a tactic. Or you could go all in. I'd be tempted to avoid, maybe. Chris, thank you. Isn't it a risk to triple captain on Arsenal, to triple on Arsenal defence? It's a risk in that you can't get Saka, yeah. Otherwise, I think it's fine. I once did a beach clean at Western Beach. Nice. I once walked donkeys on Western Beach. Would you play Emerson or 8 Nuri? 8 Nuri, I think, but that's quite close. Konza or Mikalenko this week. Mikalenko, Flecken or Sells. Flecken, Bruno or Rodgers. I'm going to go Bruno, but I suspect that Rodgers might be better. Lewis or Van Heck. Lewis, Mbermo or Bruno, Mbermo. Strand Larson or Evan Nielsen. Chat GPT said I should bench João Pedro over in Burmo. I mean, that's probably correct. But I'm not sure I would use Chat GPT for much FPL advice generally. Would you do Lewis Hall to Gomez or Carwell? Probably Carwell for absolute safety, but I do quite like Gomez for the next few weeks. It's potentially a very cheap way into that Liverpool defence. I think his minutes will be good. I just can't guarantee it. Carwell or Trent in for Mikalenko? Trent is the obvious answer because he's better than Carwell, but it's a lot more money. So what's that going to stop you doing? I was from the Bronx. Was it that bad? I don't think it was that bad. What do you think of taking a -4 for Lewis and Mbeumo to Gomez and Bruno? I don't see the point in taking a -4 to move Mbeumo with Villa away to Bruno for Arsenal away. Surely, right? I don't really use it that much, but surely Chat GPT for something like FPL advice, right? It can only go on stuff that's already been created, right? So it won't have too much information specifically for this game week. Like, Chat GPT probably won't know about Isak's injury update, right? Or the fact that João Pedro's not in training photos. Am I using it wrong? Like, it's only going on past stuff, right? Maybe it does know that. I don't know. I don't really use it. Bench one from Mbeumo, Rogers, or Buonanotte. Probably Buonanotte. Slot said that Trent probably won't play 90 against both Newcastle and Everton. I would be hesitant to bring him back until he plays a full 90. Yeah, there is definitely risk with him. Villa have 5 home games in the next 7. Should we be on Watkins? I think he's a perfectly reasonable pick, but I just don't like the price, really. I think you can use that money better elsewhere. But in terms of points, he probably will get a good few over the next few weeks. Well, interesting. So it might be viable then. I mean, saying to bench João Pedro over Mbeumo is a pretty good start for Chat GPT. If a Chat GPT team entered a Content Creators League, roughly where would it finish? Probably above me. Don't know about everyone else. Play Fabianski. Depends who you've got, right? For me, I'm going to play Raya. If you were using a wild card, who would you pick? Saka, Salah, Palmer. Start there and move on. Trent, Gabriel. Is it too risky going without Saka again? There is obviously some risk there. It depends how easily you can get him. Like, some people taking -8s to get Saka. I'm not sure that's worth it, to be honest, but who knows? Might be. I mean, I could still take him. I think I'm going to roll. I haven't been thinking much about taking a hit on this stream, so I'm probably not going to do it. There is part of me just wants to do it, though. I could do Saliba to Van Dijk and Fernandes to Saka right now for a -4. And then my team would pretty much be set. But I could also just make that move in game week 15. Start Isak, Wood bench, or sell Wood to João Pedro and start João Pedro. I'd just start Isak. Start Vandenberg or Matsurari. Vandenberg, I think. I've not heard anything about Rico Lewis starting. There's definitely some risk there. Slot said Trent would probably be subbed off at half time. I don't think he did say that. Did he? I don't think he did. 2 free transfers. Isak and Burmo to João Pedro Son have Salah Saka Palmer. I quite like that. Isak Pau Torres to Pedro Trent. Isak to Jackson for a roll. I think I would probably roll. The Isak Pau Torres move is quite nice, though, to be honest. João Pedro Trent. But I think I'd probably roll. I can't see Arsenal smashing Man United, but I can see them winning. So Salah feels like this very slightly better captain. That's my logic. Yeah, I mean, I think the Saka Salah decision is quite close. So I would use anything that will make you, or help you make the decision. And if it's that, then use that. Yeah, I think Trent will get like 60, 70 minutes in both these games. Fabianski, Fleckenhall, Vandenberg, who starts? Fabianski and Vandenberg, probably. Vandenberg and Lewis Hall's quite close. Saka always turns up against Man United. Yeah, that's what worries me a bit. And like the problem with Saka is as well is anytime he gets a corner, like the fact that he's aiming at Gabriel, it's like it's a bit of a cheat code, really. Put it this way, and I know there will be people that will be commenting next week that aren't watching. I feel very much about my team this week that this is a damage limitation week for me. Like if I can come out of this without a big red arrow, I'll be pretty happy. Even if it's a tiny, tiny green arrow, I'll probably take that right now because I can't guarantee that Rico Lewis will start. I've got triple Arsenal defence not in a great fixture. I don't have Saka again. You know, Solanke's yellow flagged. Raul Jimenez, there's maybe slight doubts about whether he starts. I'm playing Fernandes when I think I should probably be playing Rodgers. João Pedro not in any training photos. Like, it feels like damage limitation for me. Michael, thank you very much. I think there's a good-ish chance of a clean sheet for Liverpool and Newcastle, but I think Newcastle at home, I'd always back them to score, and they have had some pretty good results. I know they haven't been playing well recently, but if I look at Newcastle's, like they've already played, didn't they beat Arsenal 1-0 at home? Yeah, they beat Arsenal 1-0 at home in game week 10. They drew 1-1 with City. They only lost 1-0 to Brighton. They won 2-1 against Spurs. Like, they've actually done all right at home, apart from the fact they just lost to West Ham 2-0, I guess. But yeah, I wouldn't put massive money on the Liverpool clean sheet, but Liverpool defence is great, so it's definitely possible. Trent Van Dijk or Gabriel for Luka Dean. I think I would go for Gabriel in the shorter term. Liverpool a bit longer. Yazid, thank you. Sozif already answered. Fabianski or Flecken. Fabianski for me. Liverpool aren't Arsenal. That is correct. Yeah, they are Liverpool. Yeah, if Isak doesn't play, that definitely helps because Gordon will probably play up front because I'm not sure Callum Wilson is fit enough at the moment. The fact that he didn't come on when Isak went off in the last game is not great. Target Son or Watkins if budget no issue. Probably Son. Hi, Fran. I think you're watching the wrong stream. Or you're commenting on the wrong stream. What do I think of Odegaard as a pick? Great fixtures, underlying numbers have been great, albeit a small sample. I think he's fine. I'm not sure he's better than Bruno Fernandes long term, though, for a similar price. And personally, right, all jokes aside about triple Arsenal defence, I want double Arsenal defence for quite a while, at least up until probably game week 19. And I also really want Saka, so I don't think I would be blocking an Arsenal spot with Odegaard. I guess one defender, Odegaard and Saka, is not bad. Timber or Gomez? Timber, I think. Struggling this week. Got 3 free transfers. Canate and Isak to deal with, but blocked Chelsea and priced out of Arsenal defence. Could roll. Yeah, if you've got 3 other defenders that are decent enough, you could roll. Or you could go Liverpool, maybe. Would you sell in Burmo for Bowen, Matoma or Johnson? Bowen if I had to go for one of them. Oh, I'll tell you what I would love this week. Forget about Arsenal defence and Bruno Fernandes. You know what I would love this week? A Brian Mbeumo brace. Imagine how good that would be. Just as everyone's lost faith in him, just as the XG is low, a Brian Mbeumo brace would be amazing. Who would you start out of? McNeil, Mbeumo, and Isak? Mbeumo. And then Isak, and then McNeil probably. Captain Saka or Palmer? Palmer, since João Pedro is a doubt. First bench, 8 Nuri or Wood. Please don't play 3 Arsenal. Too late. Start Smith Rowe, Johnson. Best striker in fantasy Premier League history. Kane, maybe? I guess Henry was probably a striker or listed as a forward, maybe. I'm going to go for Kane since I've been playing. There's probably someone very obvious that I'm forgetting. I mean, Aguero was great when he played. And Haaland's obviously great right now, or at least was up until about 6-7 game weeks ago. Or Suarez, yeah. Suarez in that season when he got a ridiculous amount of goals. I think Kane had the longevity over Suarez, right? Yeah, Robin Van Persie was decent too. I'm going to say Kane. I do think that that Suarez season when he got 295 points is the best FPL season any player's ever had. Like more so than Salah because he didn't have penalties. He missed the first 5 or 6 games and he was listed as a forward. So to get so close to Salah's record as a forward without penalties and missing the first 5, 6 games, that's the best FPL season ever, in my opinion. Bench 1, Gabriel Timber, 8 Nuri, I think. Two free transfers. Should I try and move out Wood and Solanke maybe for Cunha and Visser? I wouldn't buy Visser now. I would, yeah, Chris Wood to Cunha could work. I think keeping Solanke is probably fine. Sell Son for Palmer for a -4. I guess for captaincy reasons you can maybe justify it, but selling Son for a hit doesn't sound great when you say it out loud. In Burmo and Vardiol for Kudus and Trent, I'd rather just save the 2 transfers and just play them both. What if Bruno doesn't score or assist and Arsenal don't keep a clean sheet? Then all those players will probably blank for me, I guess. Is Mbermo to Kudus a good move for upgrading Bruno to Saka next week, or do I take a hit? I think you probably just roll. Just keep Mbermo and then decide if you still want to make the move next week. Who to start, Lewis or Dunk? I guess there's no guarantee either of them starts. So you probably go for Lewis for the home game, maybe. Rodgers or Semenyo, probably Semenyo. I'm gonna put. Okay, I'm gonna end this poll. I was going to do a poll about whether or not I should take a hit to get Saka, but I already know what your answer will be. Who to play? If Man United get a penalty, you're going to want Bruno to score the penalty for it to be saved. I'm going to want it to be saved and then Bruno to score the rebound. Bench 1, Gabriel, Lewis, 8 Nuri, Mikalenko. Have Cunha. Bench 1. I guess Mikalenko. Drogba was good, yeah. Pick one to start Semenyo and Burmo, Jimenez. Ooh, probably in Burmo, but I think Jimenez is fairly close-ish. Not the right week to take a hit for Saka. Easy roll to get him for free. It's not that easy, I don't think, but that's probably is what I'm going to do. Yeah. Oh, 53% saying Rodgers. Ooh. I don't know if I can bench Bruno. I don't know if I can go through with it. Do you know what's playing on my mind, right? And this is really illogical. It shouldn't matter. But if I've got Bruno in the team, I feel a little bit better about not having Saka. If I put Rodgers in the team, I feel way worse about not having Saka. I should really just get Saka. Start Rodgers or Larson. Rodgers, I think. Bench one of Smith Rowe, Rodgers, Wood, Larson. Smith Rowe. I think. Just about. Would you not ever try and sell in Burmo and someone else to fund the Saka move? I could do Saliba to like a Colwill and in Burmo. Like if I sell in Burmo to Saka, I only have to sell Saliba to someone at 5.7 or less. So I've got loads of money in the bank for this Saka move. I'm not going to get priced out of it. Even if Saka goes up 0.3 between now and Saturday, I still won't be priced out. But yeah, if I sell Saliba and I do in Burmo to Saka instead of Fernandes, then I've got 5.7 to spend on a defender replacement. There's not really too many defenders around that price I'd want to go for, though. I'm not sure that's the point I would buy Porro, for example. I can maybe go for a punt on like an Estepinian or something, possibly, but I don't see me doing that. I just don't want to keep messing around with defenders, so I'll probably buy someone safe. I might do Saliba to go. I know I've just said I'll play it safe, but I might do Saliba to Gomez and Mbeumo to Saka. Basically, it's something like Gomez and Fernandes, or Van Dijk and Mbeumo. That's quite close, right? There's a lot of your viewers interested in this, Welbeck or Pedro. Are there, though? I think you have to prove that. I think you have to prove it. Start Strand Larson or Mbeumo. I bet 5 leather that you should take the hit. I'm alright, thanks. Appreciate the thought. Bench 1, 8 Nuri, Hall, Delict or Van Heck. Probably Delict. Bench 1, Isaac, Rogers, Wood. Also Edison to Sanchez. Don't mind that. Edison will probably start, but it's not a guarantee. I'd bench Wood, I think. Bench 1, I did that one. All right, 20 minutes until the deadline. Ahmad or Rashford for future game weeks as fourth midfielder? Probably Rashford, but let's wait and see what the next couple of games look like for Man United. Do Wood to João Pedro or roll and play Rodgers? I'd be a little bit tempted to roll and play Rodgers. Do Mikalenko to Colwell or roll and start Mikalenko? I'd probably roll. I think I said that to you already, though. Did you? I think you already asked that, right? And I said I'd roll. Everton haven't conceded more than 1 goal outside the Man United in the last 9 games. Well, hopefully they concede 0 this week. That'd be nice. As a non-Strand Larson, non-Cunha, non-8 Nuri owner. I somehow doubt that's going to happen, though, but you never know. Bench Evan Nielsen or Rodgers? Rodgers, I think. 53% of people currently, nearly 2,000 votes, sorry. 53% saying Rodgers. I don't think I can do it, lads. I don't think I can do it. Do. Trent and Semenyo or Gomez, Timber and Matoma. Trent and Semenyo, I think. Again, all the caveats I've said, all stream about the fact that there's probably a slight risk with Trent because he's only just back from a hamstring issue. Over next to me. He's out to Jackson for free. I'd probably hold, but I can see why you might want to do it. I certainly don't think it's a terrible move. I'm hoping Jackson's benched, but I'm not sure he will be. Pick one to start, Jimenez or Semenyo. I think just because there's probably a tiny bit more doubt on Jimenez starting over Semenyo, I'd probably play Semenyo. But if I knew that they both started, I'd be very tempted by Jimenez. I think Jimenez will start. Thank you for your content. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. And for your super chat. I will never put Rashford in my team. He could get 200 points a game and I still wouldn't put him in my team. I think you probably would. Bench 2, Lewis Hall, Mikalenko, 8 Nuri, Fass. I have Larson. Probably Hall and Fass, I think. Strand Larson for Raul Jimenez, -4 different. I wouldn't take a -4 whichever way around that is. I wouldn't sell Strand Larson for a -4. I wouldn't sell Raul Jimenez for a -4. I think you answered a Jimenez versus Semenyo 5 minutes ago the other way around. I probably did. I'm answering quick, right? So I'm not giving it like a huge amount of thought. It's not like a pre-recorded video. But I think if they both start, Jimenez is better. But I guess if you were putting money on who's the slightly more doubt to get benched, it's probably Jimenez, right? Semenyo's literally just had a rest, but he is probably close. Sell Wood for João Pedro or for anyone else. At that kind of price, I think João Pedro is probably the better option. This Jimenez hype is unbelievable. What hype? Literally not telling anyone to buy him. Jimenez might be another troll like Calvert-Lewin. Possibly, yeah. But again, not really telling anyone to buy him. I literally just said to bench him for Semenyo, so I'm not sure what all this hype stuff's about. We had all these years of Messi, Ronaldo, perma captain talk if they were in the Premier League. Now we have Haaland hitting similar numbers and most of us don't own him. Yeah, it can happen. I mean, it will not be long until Haaland's back to doing really well. And then as soon as he gets a brace or hat-trick, all the questions will be, when do we get Haaland back in? How are you going to get Haaland back in? Do I take a hit to get him in? All it takes is a brace or hat-trick, and the narrative will completely change. My plan is still just to wing it for a bit. I think from game week 15, whatever moves I make, they have to almost be the last moves I've got planned for a while. And then I just have to be happy with my team for a little bit, unless I get an injury or unless a player stops getting minutes and stuff like that. Because I don't want to get to the point where Haaland has good fixtures from 18 onwards and just not have any option to get to him. Should I use a -4 for Raul Jimenez to Jackson? As soon as the game week starts, as I have enough of Jackson, he's predicted to go up. What if he gets his yellow card and misses the next game? Is he that important to get for Spurs away? Not convinced he is. Would you start Evan Nielsen or Rodgers? Evan Nielsen for sure. I'd play Mikalenko over Aït-Nouri. I'd maybe play Aït-Nouri if you've got Wolves attackers, but in isolation, I think Mikalenko. You should use your wildcard by game week 19 at the latest. Finally hit the overall top 2k last game week. That's so good. I wish I was top 2k right now. My life would be so much more peaceful if I was top 2k. It's so nice. I can only dream from 900k. I'm basically terrible at this game. I'm finally being found out. Bench one, Semenyo Larsson or Isak. Strand Larsson, I think. I think I would risk Isak, that he's either playing or he's not in the squad. You got 95 points, very nice. Everton haven't scored since October, so I think Aït-Nouri might be the better choice. Quite possibly. But Wolves' defence is quite generous. Like, when was the last time Aït-Nouri kept a clean sheet? I think he kept one in game week 11 or something. Yeah, game week 11 against Southampton. Outside of that, he hasn't kept one all season. They've kept one clean sheet all season, Aït-Nouri. Start which of Wood, Semenyo, Robertson, Matsurari. Semenyo and Robinson, I think. Play two of Porro, Aït-Nouri, Lewis or O'Shea. Aït-Nouri and Porro. Wood to Jackson or Roll. I think Wood to Jackson's fine. Hopefully Jackson starts. Start Mikalenko or Lewis. Mikalenko. Start Isak or João Pedro. João Pedro, I think. Has Aït-Nouri ever got a goal and a clean sheet? Probably. I'm in a pickle. Bench one in Burmo, Johnson, Matoma or Solanke. I'd probably bench Johnson of that lot. But they're all really good options this week, I think. If you're sick of Burmo and his lack of shots, then bench him instead. Like, Johnson's numbers are very good, and Spurs are a better attack than Brentford, so that is quite close. Gut says Strand Larson to score. Taking a minus. Fair enough. Fair enough. Would you be taking the -4 if you didn't get a brace last week? Probably not, right? Vardy or Lewis or Vardy or Gabriel? Definitely Vardy or Gabriel, I think. One bench. João Pedro, Evan Nielsen in Burma or Semenyo? Probably Semenyo. No. Probably Evan Nielsen. I think. It's quite close between Evan Nielsen and João Pedro. If you have to wonder when the last time Aït-Nouri scored a goal and got a clean sheet, perhaps that answers the question about whether or not you should get him. I've got no interest in getting him. They won't keep many clean sheets, and he's still one yellow card away from suspension. So they got some good fixtures coming up, though. If he gets all the way through to, I think it's Ipswich and Leicester, that looks quite nice. Benching Burmo, Semenyo, Strand Larson, João Pedro. Strand Larson. God, he's going to score another brace, isn't he? Don't come to me if he does really well. Just got home from work. Did I miss anything? Not really. Nothing major in terms of news. I talked about a job interview that I had once that I didn't get the job for. Imagine if I did get the job, I probably wouldn't be doing YouTube right now. Would you risk Isak if you had him? Probably, but it depends if you got someone better that you could play instead. But I think Isak's the one thing playing on my mind with Isak is it feels like multiple times this season he's looked like a good option. He's always failed to deliver when people have put him in their team. He just hasn't done that great. But I still think, judging by the fixtures only, 15 to 17 could be really good for Isak. So I'd be more tempted to hold him. I'm doing YouTube full time. Yeah, pretty much. Maybe you'd be doing YouTube for the bank. You could have been the NatWest version of the Go Compare guy. Probably not. What is your top 5 spreads on toast? I never really have toast. I used to like Marmite quite a lot, though. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be... Well, I don't know. If you work for a bank, you probably do get close to $1 million a month, don't you? When is the best time to use the wildcard before Game Week 19? I mean, I'm going to give the cop-out answer. It really depends what your team looks like. You might need it soon. But otherwise, using it in game... The only thing I would say, right, Game Week 19 could be a really nice time to use it. As late as possible. You've got all the information ahead of the second half of the season. You might even have mystery chip info at that point. The only thing is, Game Week 19 is... Deadline is the 29th of December. So you're going to be like thinking about it over Christmas. That's the only downside. For some people, that might be a good thing. For other people, it's a terrible thing. You're missing out on Amad Diallo. I don't think I'm really missing out on him for Arsenal away. Start Solanke or McNeil. Solanke. Play which two? Diallo, Robinson, Davis, Gomez. Probably Davis and... probably Diallo in that case. Captain Saka, Palmer or Salah. Palmer for me. Palmer for me. Start Gordon or Strand Larson. There's a chance that Gordon would be on penalties if Isak's out. And he would play number 9. I would probably play Gordon. In Burmo Brayson come in. Fingers crossed. We've had the Christmas tree up in since not the weekend just gone, the one before. So it's up, yeah. Who doesn't eat toast? What do you eat for breakfast? Pretty much every day for breakfast I have porridge with chocolate orange protein powder. And I know that's going to sound disgusting, but I've just gotten used to it. Blueberries and a banana. That's pretty much what I have every single one. Almost never have toast. I've had that pretty much every day for a long time now. That's exactly what I had this morning. Doubt Ahmed starts tomorrow. He's not started in midweek and weekend all season. Possibly. But I still think out of those choices I wouldn't buy him, no chance. I think out of those choices, I'd probably start him and hope for the best. Just so I don't see the defenders getting a clean sheet. I don't need to change it up. You'll be happy. I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. Like, I don't have to think about it. It's good. It's decent. News on Matoma and Solanke. Chances they're out. I think there's no news. We haven't heard from either manager. I think both will start. But I obviously can't guarantee it. Sanchez or Fabianski? Sanchez, I think. Start Isak and Mikalenko or Cunha and Estepinian? Cunha and Estepinian, probably. Why would all season matter with a new manager? But it might be a fitness concern, right? But yeah, of course, lots of things have gone out the window now. Amrim's in. Someone just said to me, make my changes. But to be honest with you, there is no changes to make. This is my team. I'm going to go with it, I think. I'm going to go with Fernandes over Rodgers because I'm just a wimp. I should be playing Rodgers, I think. Vardiol and Chris Wood, Colwill / Emerson and Jackson -4. Probably not. You just play Vardiol this week and hope for a clean sheet. Likelihood of Mitoma playing. I think he will play, and I would play him ahead of Visser. Play 2 out of these besides Gabriel, Timber, 8 Nuri, and Lewis. Probably the first 2, Timber and 8 Nuri. I would bench Lewis in your case. God, Lewis ain't going to start, is he? My defense is getting no returns. Fernandes is probably going to blat. I honestly, this is damage limitation. I'm not taking the -4 for Saka. I don't think. I'm just gonna hope I don't get massively punished again. We'll see. We'll see. It could be a really dodgy week. Why Greaves ahead of Pinnock? Better fixture, and also apparently Kieran McKenna doesn't usually like using centre backs on the bench, so Greaves is probably going to start or just not be in the squad. Start Rashford or Rodgers. I'm going Rashford. I would probably go Rodgers, but I can see why you want to go Rashford. Fred, thank you. I suspect Cucurella will start, but I guess there could be a bit of rotation. Bench 1, João Pedro, Semenyo, Johnson. Johnson, I think. It's probably quite close to him and Semenyo. I've probably said the other way earlier. Yeah, hit the like button if you're enjoying the stream. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We just passed 435k. I'd love to hit 450k before the season ends. I think 500k is way too much. But 450 would be nice. Start Flecken or Fabianski. Fabianski for me, I think. What's the probability of Palmer not starting? Quite low, I would say. If you want to play at ultra safe, go for Saka or Salah instead. They will definitely start. I guess there is a little bit more risk with Palmer, but I really don't see it as that risky. 9.5k watching, mental. I think we once hit like over 30,000 watching. That was absolute peak. That was like game week 1 or something. And there was less people that did deadline streams at the time. I think 500k is not doable, not by the end of the season. I'm telling you now, it's impossible. I wish it was, but it's impossible. We're going to have to wait until at least next season, maybe even the season afterwards. Aina or Luca Dean, Kelleher or Fabianski. Luca Dean, definitely. And then I'd probably go Kelleher over Fabianski. Can't believe you keep saying bench Semenyo. I'm thinking of captaining him. I really don't think he's a great captain, but yeah, you don't have to bench him, that's for sure. Start 8 Nuri, Mikalenko, Rodgers or Semenyo. Semenyo. What fixture swings / players are worth saving transfers up for? There's not actually a huge amount of fixture swings coming up. Like Man City are about to have a fixture swing, but not many people want their players. Like honestly, we're hitting a stage of the season now where there's a bit of a template forming with the midfield. You know, maybe not the forwards. Like there's probably people watching that don't have any of my forwards, or maybe just João Pedro. But midfield, Palmer, Saka, Salah. I think Arsenal defence will get a bit more popular as soon as they keep a few more clean sheets. People will look at Liverpool defenders and stuff like that. Colwell's popular. We're about to hit a bit of a template, and I'm not sure it's going to change for a little bit. Like maybe people will start selling Fernandes and Mbeumo, but I think ultimately we're going to see a bit of a template, and there's not massive fixture swings coming up, at least not for big teams. I think having that midfield just looks really good right now and looks really good for a long time. I guess the big swing will be game week 18. Do people go back to Haaland or do they just stick without him? That'll probably be the next big decision. And actually, that's part of the reason I quite like still having Solanke. Because I can go from like Solanke to Haaland and I could just sell like Salah to an 8 million. Or even like Bruno. No, Bruno wouldn't work, would it? No. But even like Palmer down to a 6.1 million midfielder, I've got a route back to Haaland if I feel like I really need him, which I probably won't, but we'll see. Triple defense is looking tragic, but people wouldn't be saying that if it was double defense. It's just one more defender. Just relax about it. It's not your team. Just be happy, right? I'm going to get a red arrow. You're going to get a green one. We can all be... Well, I wouldn't be happy, but you can be happy. Would you take a -4 for Mikalenko to Trent? No, probably not. Don't think so. I'm set. I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll, and I'm going to captain Palmer, and I'm going to hope for the best. Going to regret that Rodgers benching. Probably. 54% saying play Rodgers. I could maybe switch. Got a minute to think about it. Yeah, I can just feel the pain if Fernandes does really well. In the snowman. When the snowman brings the snow. Hey, Rodgers triple defense. Let's all be miserable together. That's the Christmas spirit. Let's all just be miserable together. If Fernandes does really well now, I'm gonna regret that so massively. I'm gonna go for the nailed on penalty taker. I'm just gonna stay it. Just gonna stay. Maybe that's a bottle job. I can I'll take it. I might even need Morgan Rogers for someone else. Someone else might not play anyway. I might end up with both Rogers and Fernandes. There we go. Deadline's in. I'm starting Fernandes. Starting Fernandes. It's locked in. Special. I've rolled. No Saka. God, Rogers is going to do really well, isn't he? Anyway, I'm hoping game week 15 is better. 2 free transfers now. I can deal with anything that happens this week. The team will look a bit better next week as well. Generally. Might not get Saka. We'll see what happens. I think anyone saying losers and hold that L, it feels a bit pottle. Ket called it. Oh, crap. Hot calling the kettle black is what I want to say. Andy is FPL's Gandalf, always knows what to do. That is not true at all. Most of the time, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't been listening to Christmas FM. I've been listening to my Christmas playlist on Spotify. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna do the draw for the game week 13 sleeper pick'em predictions. So many people got 8 predictions last week. So I'm just going to bring this up now. So all the people on the right, there's actually more. All these people got 8 predictions in game week 13. So it's for a £100 Amazon gift voucher. So I'm just going to do the draw right now. And we'll see who wins. You'd suit a mustache. I definitely wouldn't. Trust me. Yeah, I saw that Luke Shaw's apparently injured again. Not great. So Barimba33, you have won a £100 Amazon gift voucher. If you want to get involved with the sleeper Let's Talk FPL Pick'em League, there is a link in the description below. Get your predictions submitted before the game start tonight, and there's another £100 Amazon gift voucher up for grabs for game week 14. If there's more than one person that gets the same amount of top predictions, I will do a draw on the next deadline stream. There we go. Right choice about Bruno Fernandes. I'm not sure. Not sure. If you didn't start Fernandes and he wiped out your triple defense, you'd never get over it. I do struggle with getting over stuff in FPL. I'm still thinking about game week 6 wildcard and how bad it went for me and how much I just did not need it. I just did not need. It's all been downhill since that wildcard 6. Right. I think I'm going to leave it there. Just gone 6 o'clock. I've got chicken fried rice for tea. Looking forward to that. Bit of curry sauce to go with it. Homemade. It's going to be decent. You should transfer in Leif Davis. Probably not. I think you're getting 2 times 4 points from that Arsenal game. 8 points sounds okay. How much is your sleeper? It's completely free. It's a free app. There's loads of games. You can set up leagues with your friends if you want. But the Let's Talk FPL Sleeper League, Pick'em Sleeper League, is completely free. Just download the app using the link in the description below. Get joined. Get your predictions submitted. See what happens. I've actually got a voucher to send to the person that won last week, but I just need their email address. See if they've replied to me. Don't know if they have yet. Says, I'll have a look afterwards. But yeah, Barimba33, I will message you after this game. Right, thank you very much for joining me. Make sure to give the stream a like and hit that subscribe button if you've been enjoying things. I will be back. So there's going to be no content tomorrow, I don't think. I don't like making content when there's only been like 2 games. It just doesn't seem like any point. So I will wait until Wednesday's games are finished and the content will start back up from Thursday, because at that point we've only got 2 games and 4 teams to go. So no videos tomorrow. I'll be back on Thursday. There won't be a knee-jerk stream for Game Week 15 either, but there will be plenty of videos and then hopefully a deadline stream on Saturday as well. So good luck this week. Let's hope that Saka blanks and everyone else I don't own blanks as well. That would be nice. I will, I will catch you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you again on Thursday.